Some say the paranormal only whispers. But what if it pushes back? In these clips, people are shoved, pulled, and dragged by something no one can see. No warning, no explanation, just force and terror, all caught on camera.
Hello?
You may have seen countless ghost sightings, but this one is particularly chilling. On November 17th, 2015, CCTV recorded a terrifying encounter as a man was leaving work. Entering the lobby, a dark, shadowy figure suddenly appeared and lunged at him, causing him to fall in fear. The entity grabbed his leg and dragged him across the floor, but he kicked free and ran. The shadowy figure gave chase, and just as it seemed about to catch him, the footage cut off abruptly, leaving the outcome unknown. Woman shaken up. At first glance, this looks like ordinary home security footage from an apartment of a lone girl asleep on the couch until things suddenly escalate. A young woman decided to install a night vision camera after a series of events that followed, where some paranormal force would pull her awake, turning an everyday scene into something deeply unsettling. After this happened a few times, she decided to see if the camera picked up the entity, if not at least share her experience with the world. Two clips that were taken at a different time and angle show the frequent and seriousness of the issue. Before we start, hit like and subscribe to stay alert, because these strange moments from around the world weren't supposed to exist. Neighbor levitating. This neighbor either became a meta-human overnight or seemed under the influence of something paranormal. A tenant shared doorbell camera footage that appeared to show her neighbor levitating off the ground in a trance-like state. The motion-activated camera, according to the owner, captured the eerie moment clearly. Whether this was the result of a supernatural force or merely an illusion remains uncertain. But the sheer randomness of the event made it especially unsettling. The tenant later explained that moving to a new apartment felt like the most sensible decision. Bedroom horror. Late one night, while this Minnesota man was asleep, he experienced a disturbing incident in his home that was also captured on his security camera dating December 28th, 2023. Days earlier, he had used an Ouija board out of simple curiosity, after which he began suffering from restless sleep and intense nightmares, often waking with the uneasy sense that something was present nearby. As the episodes continued, he reviewed the recorded footage, which seemed to show unusual, unexplained movement occurring around him while he slept. Though difficult to interpret, the unsettling video deepened his belief that the disturbances were connected to his attempt at spirit communication, reinforcing common warnings to avoid such practices. Care home apparition.
It's the washroom, this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back in May 2021, a team of two paranormal investigators, Matt and Andy, were exploring an abandoned care home in Liverpool, England, where they came across something terrifyingly unexpected. In the staircase, the cameraman who was recording noticed a dark, moving figure on a floor just above him.
But yeah, you can see it goes up again. Hey, wait up.
Both of them rushed upstairs to get a better look at it, but within seconds, it managed to disappear, which if this was a person, would have been heard running or spriting away. From that very short moment that was caught on camera, gave a glimpse of this entity that looked like it was a completely dark figure. Toddler spirit. A man, after coming back to his apartment, began hearing sounds that sounded like a baby crying. He said he kept hearing someone sobbing, even though no one was there. Soon, the spirit of a toddler appeared several times, just as shown in the video. After that, some of the battery-operated toys in the apartment started turning on by themselves, adding to the strange and unsettling events. Haunted bedroom. Security camera clip dating to March 8th, 2018, captured unsettling activity in a bedroom while a young woman slept alone. The footage shows her resting peacefully before the door slowly creaks open on its own, followed by sudden crashing and banging sounds that jolt her awake. Startled and frightened, she rushes out of the room to escape the disturbance. After some time, she cautiously returns to bed, but the unexplained noises and movements resume, suggesting the strange presence had not subsided. The incident, later shared online from an undisclosed location, was described as a possible ghost-like disturbance occurring around her as she slept. Smoke silhouette. Ghosts aren't always completely invisible. Sometimes they can take a visible form. This raw, unedited footage, captured by a security camera in an apartment, shows one of the most compelling pieces of evidence of a ghost. In the video, a smoky silhouette can be seen levitating and drifting through the rooms. The tenant living there didn't notice the presence until he reviewed the footage, and since the ghost showed no aggressive behavior, it suggests a quiet, peaceful coexistence with those in the apartment. Mirror demon.
It's like a creepy smile.
A group of friends was talking when one of the girls glanced at a mirror. Suddenly, her reflection twisted into something terrifying, unfamiliar, and almost demonic. Despite the shock, she didn't tell anyone and continued the conversation as if nothing had happened. It was as though the mirror had revealed a hidden, darker side of herself, a part she had never seen before. Bothering ghost.
Ya son como las 11 de la noche.
Back in May 2018, security guard Raul Arguello, 32, captured a terrifying moment on camera at Tomás Adolfo Duco Stadium in Buenos Aires, Argentina, while investigating why a dressing room door had been repeatedly opening and slamming shut.
La puta que te parió.
He filmed himself on his mobile phone, hoping to catch the culprits, but when he opened the door, no one was there. Instead, his footage shows a fleeting figure, a ghostly shadow quickly moving across the benches from left to right before disappearing through the wall, creating a chilling and unexplained moment caught entirely on video. Invisibly pulled. Just as this young woman was going through her things in a storeroom, until something terrifying happened. Very randomly, she found herself pulled apart by an unseen force over several feet across the floor before she could get back on her feet and flee. The footage was later reviewed in search of answers, where the very force that pulled her wasn't visible at all. Fortunately, she managed to come out of this unscathed. Street pull. A puzzling video circulating online captures a man preparing to step off a curb when events take a sudden and baffling turn. Without any visible contact, he is abruptly pulled forward and across the road, his body sliding as though seized by an invisible grip. The unexpected motion has sparked intense debate among viewers. Some suggest the scene could point to an extraordinary, unexplained ability at play, while others argue it reflects something far more supernatural. With no clear source visible in the footage, the clip continues to divide opinions and fuel speculation. Kitchen disturbance.
I was just listening to music. I was on the laptop.
While relaxing and listening to music, a woman began to notice faint, unsettling noises coming from her kitchen. Her dog reacted immediately, pacing and darting about in clear distress, as if aware of something she could not see.
Holy sh**.
Curious and slightly uneasy, she walked in to check, calling out softly, but found no one there. Moments later, the cabinet doors suddenly swung open and slammed shut on their own.
Hello?
Startled, she looked inside and found nothing out of place, then hurried back to her room in fear. Only afterward did she fully grasp her dog's agitation, showing that whatever had disturbed the kitchen had gone unseen, not just by her alone. Harrowing clinic activity. During a quiet night shift at a small clinic, a janitor recorded unsettling footage after hearing what sounded like a woman crying somewhere in the empty corridors. As he moved through the halls, objects appeared to shift on their own chairs, scraping, doors slowly opening, and medical carts rolling without anyone near them. The building felt increasingly tense and oppressive, as though something unseen lingered just out of view. It was later noted that the clinic had been constructed on the grounds of a long-closed asylum, leading some to speculate that the strange disturbances might be tied to remnants of its troubled history. Toys going off. A mother shared a video online after noticing that several of her young daughter's toys were activating on their own, buzzing sounds from an empty room. The noises persisted even after the frightened child fell asleep beside her, seeking comfort away from the toys. According to the mother, she had already removed the batteries from many of them, yet they still seemed to switch on at random times, sometimes repeatedly, with no clear mechanical explanation for the continued sounds. She questioned whether the behavior could still be caused by residual power or if something more unusual might be behind the disturbances. Paranormal shakedown. These two young ladies who were enjoying a quiet evening together until shortly after dinner while doing the dishes. Their night took a disturbing turn. At first, a chair was dragged away and dropped to the ground, and then a drying rack fell on its own, which only started to get them more and more concerned, though they still seemed unsure what was happening. Moments later, the activity escalated as the entire tray of freshly washed dishes was suddenly flung onto the floor, shattering the calm of the kitchen and leaving them stunned by the abrupt, unexplained disturbance.
Get out! Get out from my house!
Ghost head. An unnamed source who was visiting an abandoned church in Esholt, United Kingdom, when she noticed the face of what looked like a person that was peeping at her. As she came close to look and speak, noticed nothing was there on the other, almost as if that person mysteriously vanished. Hours later, after the same source decided to make her way into the church, that sealed when that similar but much more terrifying-looking ghost head suddenly appeared as she was in the staircase. As she turned around and was going back, a door can be seen that breaks off its hinges and falls right next to her, and the footage ends. Possession in progress. What began as an ordinary day in class quickly spiraled into a scene that appeared to show a possession unfolding in real time. A girl suddenly started to lift upward, her body drawn as if by an unseen force, her movements rigid and unnatural. Panic spread as classmates and the teacher rushed to restrain her, gripping her arms and waist, yet she continued to rise against their efforts. The struggle lasted for tense moments, her body straining as though caught between opposing pulls, until the force abruptly released her. She dropped back down, exhausted and disoriented, leaving the classroom shaken by the sense that something had briefly taken hold of her. Haunted Waterfall Pool. Two tourists were relaxing at a waterfall pool in Brazil and getting ready to leave when one of them, who was filming, noticed something strange. A strand of the other woman's hair began moving on its own in an unusual way.
Take your breath away! Take your breath away, right?
There was no wind, and the movement didn't match the dripping water around them. The clip left them confused about what could have caused it. Some later claimed that the spot had once been an old native burial area, suggesting the movement might have been linked to something unseen at the location.
Take your breath away? Take your breath away, right?
Kitchen poltergeist. Footage taken from a home in Clarksville, Tennessee, where a woman, on multiple occasions, noticed activity in her kitchen as the cabinet drawers and doors would open on their own. While this left her uneasy, a very similar effect was noticed by her neighboring house.
That knife fell out of that little knife container thingy.
Where a man filmed a knife that was randomly pulled from the stand and dropped on the wooden floor. As both cases came to light, these strange and unexplained movements were directly linked to a case of poltergeist. Hospital activity. A hallway camera in a hospital in Albuquerque, New Mexico, captured a moment when a nurse walking past suddenly stopped and stood motionless for several seconds, as if caught in a trance. In this moment, she looked like being hypnotized, especially when later a wheelchair was seen moving on its own, if not being pushed by someone. Playground shadow. Students from a boys' hostel in Greater Noida, India, were heading back around 11 p.m. when, in a playground, they noticed something very odd. A dark figure was seen swinging in a very aggressive manner, almost as if it were doing so on purpose, just to be seen and haunt the one who spotted it in the first place. The students maintained their distance while filming the encounter and later shared it on their social media, seeking answers. Unexpected force. Moments after a motion sensor-activated security camera picked up activity, a security guard decided to check it out. Just as the guard briefly checked out the area and was about to leave, he was pulled hard by an unseen entity and was struck hard to the wall. That very moment, the guard was dizzy and in shock, but managed to call for backup, where an additional guard appeared on the scene and helped him away. What makes this most astonishing was the unprovoked and sudden paranormal activity that was directly focused on the guard. Nanny cam activity. This clip was shared by a young mother on her TikTok, showing a moment when paranormal activity began around the crib of her baby. Although there is no hearable audio from the camera, the young mother shared having heard a loud thud sound, to which she responded by immediately checking up on the baby. Before reviewing the camera clip, she removed the baby from the room out of safety concerns. Ghost on board.
No mames.
As he wrapped up his night shift in Mexico City, an airline employee carried out a routine inspection inside a parked aircraft after hearing unexplained noises and doors slamming shut. Moving cautiously down the darkened aisle with a flashlight, he turned toward a corner only to see a shadowy figure briefly leaning into view. The footage captures Francisco stopping in place, visibly shaken by what he witnessed in the confined cabin. Whether the disturbance came from the presence of an ordinary cause remains unclear, but the chilling moment inside the silent plane has fueled ongoing speculation about what he may have encountered. Opening curtains. A surveillance camera positioned above a staircase recorded a strange pattern of activity unfolding through the night. Whenever a woman pulled the curtains shut over the nearby windows, they would slide open again moments later without anyone touching them. At first, the movement seemed easy to dismiss, perhaps air pressure or a faulty track, but the repetition told a different story. Again and again, the curtains closed and then reopened on their own, with no person present in the frame. The persistent interference left behind the only explanation that this was the doing of an unseen force or spirit that was at work. Invisible gym freak. In an empty park at night somewhere in Bangalore, India, a chest press machine started to move on its own, as if an invisible person were using it. With this very bizarre activity that suddenly started to unfold quickly, started to get viral. It drew so much attention that local police came to investigate, but no one was found nearby. With no explanation, speculation ran wild to be nothing less than paranormal activity, if not some invisible gym bro being the mysterious visitor. Guadalajara Mystery. At the Museo Palacio Ocampo in Guadalajara, Mexico, a visitor filmed a strange moment inside one of the exhibits. The museum displays a wax figure of Maria Sabina, the well-known shaman associated with spiritual rituals. The statue was seated quietly as part of the display, while information about her life played nearby. As the visitor watched, the figure's head appeared to slowly turn toward him. There were no visible mechanisms or reasons for it to move. The moment left him unsettled and unsure of what he had seen. Some later suggested it could have been a trick of perception, while others believed something unexplained might have been involved. Cemetery Girl.
Blowing it, running through the cemetery and landed on a tombstone.
One evening in Arizona, two men standing in their balcony filming the view when they noticed a small figure moving in the cemetery across the street. It looked like a barefoot girl in a white dress walking slowly between the graves. They both called out to her, but she did not respond or turn around.
What happened? What the is she doing? Why is she touching other people's graves?
She continued farther into the dark area of the cemetery. Then, suddenly, she could no longer be seen. They could not explain where she had gone. Later, some locals said the sighting sounded like old stories about a young girl believed to wander there.
You're scaring me! You're really scaring me!
Peeping Jinn.
شو اللي طلعك هون؟ وليش وجهك هيك اختلف؟
An Arab man who, after hearing noise from his nearby residence, decided to check it. Just as he got in, noticed this unknown entity that was staring at him from an upside-down manner, peeping back and forth. Although it looked humanoid, it was nothing like a normal person. The source, who moments later got closer to investigate, finding it to have vanished out of thin air. By the very nature and body language of it, he was convinced that this was a jinn that had appeared in a physical form.
أنا لغاية الآن مش موافق أفوت على اللعبة.
Triggered demon.
What the baby? Whoosh! What the baby? Go, 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 go!
After noticing signs she believed pointed to a strange presence in her home, a woman decided to try an old cleansing ritual. With her husband nearby, she began burning sage and moving through the rooms, a practice some people use to clear negative energy. During the process, something unexpected seemed to happen. A light bulb that was not plugged in suddenly appeared to glow, and a large crucifix on the wall turned upside down. The moment shocked both of them, leaving them frightened and unsure how to explain what they had just seen. Exorcism gone wrong. In an old Italian village, a group of persists and exorcists had gathered to perform an exorcism on a young woman. Just as they were preparing to get started, the dark spirit in the girl started to go berserk, levitating her all the way to the ceiling before dropping her to the ground. The priests, who were overwhelmed by the situation, fled in panic, making their plans on exorcism fail before they could even get started with it. Horrifying witch. One summer evening, a group of friends was playing cards on their house roof in Goa, India, when a frightening figure in white suddenly appeared behind them. It had long black hair and a twisted face, but the strangest part was how close it hovered above them, almost at head level, while they continued playing as if nothing was there. Strangely, the figure seemed visible only on camera. The terrifying apparition gave the impression of being a witch. Hostel ghost. Inside a girls' hostel in Mumbai, a woman who had just finished brushing her teeth and was getting ready for bed when something unseen seemed to cross her path. Without warning, she was shoved sharply from behind, the force strong enough to startle her. She turned on the alarm, trying to understand what had happened, but no one was there. Despite the sudden push, she did not react with panic and simply walked away. almost as if she was already familiar with such disturbances. Her calm response suggested this might not have been the first time she had experienced something unusual in that space. Hovering encounter. On a late-night drive somewhere on the outskirts of Cairo, this driver was taking a shortcut route which led him into something he wished he had never seen. As he drove along the empty road, he noticed a dark, robed shape floating above the ground, suspended with no visible support. Viewers later compared the figure to a Dementor from Harry Potter, the creature said to drain all joy. He felt the same. As he passed beneath it, a deep heaviness came over him, and the feeling remained for days. Needless to say, he never considered taking that lonely shortcut again. Cut undone. Shortly after starting to work in a restaurant kitchen in Bangkok, Thailand, a junior chef began noticing odd disturbances around her. Utensils shifted on their own. Containers moved or dropped even when no one was nearby. And the pattern grew too frequent to dismiss as clumsiness. The most baffling moment came when she cut a lemon into quarters and stepped away briefly. On returning, it was whole again, as if untouched. Shocked by the repeated incidents, she reviewed security footage that seemed to match her experiences and shared several clips online, hoping someone could explain what she had witnessed. Moving bicycle. The fact that cycling relies a lot on developing the balancing skill is what makes this incident seem hard to dismiss as coincidence. Late one night, a man was awakened to find his bicycle outside moving in smooth circles on its own. Despite the uneven rural ground, it stayed upright and steady, as if someone invisible were riding it. It looped back and forth several times, before finally stopping when it struck a closed garage door. No similar events happened before or after, leaving him puzzled about what could have caused this strange movement. Snatched bicycle. CCTV footage from a hotel camera in Manila showed a dramatic moment where a woman was riding a bicycle with which she got pulled around. What looked like was an unseen entity who grabbed the front of the wheel before turning her around to the back, where the cycle was tossed around before it finally dropped to the ground. Although the woman was completely safe, the moment left her and other witnesses stunned by the development. Pushed off roof. Among the many forms paranormal encounters are said to take, this incident stood out for its sudden aggression. A rooftop CCTV camera recorded a boy walking across the top of a single-story house when something unexpected happened. A faint, shadow-like figure appeared beside him and seemed to shove him forward with force. The push sent him into a part of the roof hidden from the camera's view, after which he fell out of frame. He was later reported safe, but the footage was noted for showing an unusually forceful and direct interaction attributed to an unseen presence. Fisherman ambushed. A young fisherman from Turkey set up a camera during a night trip to Satorian Dam, hoping to record his time by the water. As the hours passed, he began to feel uneasy and soon noticed a pale, human-like shape hovering near the shoreline. The figure appeared faint and hollow-eyed, unlike anything he expected to see there. Frozen with fear, he lit a flare-like stick, and the sudden light seemed to disrupt the apparition long enough for him to retreat. He left the dam and never returned. Days later, another angler reported seeing a similar figure in the same spot, this time during daylight. Poolman possessed. Unable to sleep late one night, a homeowner went outside to clean his pool when a disturbing scene unfolded. Security footage shows a dark, shadow-like form appearing beside him, after which his behavior changes abruptly, his movements stiff and erratic, as though he were struggling against something unseen. He begins to cry out loudly, drawing his daughter outside to check on him. She tries to approach and help, but as his distress intensifies and the situation grows more alarming, she retreats out of fear for her safety, leaving the cause of his episode unclear. Trailing silhouette. While on a break at a high-rise construction site in Bangladesh, a worker noticed a man in the distance and zoomed in with his phone camera to see him more clearly. As he began recording, something unusual caught his attention, a dark shape trailing closely behind the man. At first, he assumed it was just a shadow, but its movement didn't match the person ahead of it. The worker kept filming the strange silhouette as it followed along, leaving him wondering whether it was a trick of light or something far more unsettling. Little girl's interaction. Home security footage showed a young girl alone in the house, appearing to interact with someone who was not visible on camera. She held out a box of candy as if offering it, when her arm suddenly jerked back, as though pulled by an unseen hand. A moment later, she was released, but the second box she carried shifted as if something had taken hold of it. When her parents later reviewed the recording, they were alarmed by what they saw, shaken by how close their child had seemed to something they could not explain. Open discussion. This picture and video was captured on December 15th, 2026, where a young woman who was sleeping on a couch when a paranormal force suddenly started to act on her. According to the young woman, she had been feeling the presence of a ghost in a room that usually becomes active whenever she is asleep. To monitor the activity, she decided to leave a recording, which happened to catch this very dramatic moment. However, some viewers believe that she may already be under the influence of a demon, which causes this to happen. Nothing is known for sure. The video has definitely reached its end. I will see you again with another WoW video. Until then, you can check these other videos out for a wow dose of entertainment and knowledge.